You're overthinking it.
Ominous said lazily, his wand poised like a teacher's pointer as he gestured toward the spider.
Focus on the desired shape, not the object itself.
He blinked, the faint glow of the undercroft catching in his eyes.
You can't just rely on what you see. Try again.
He added, punctuating the command with a yawn. Suppressing a groan, I waved my wand once more, concentrating on the image of a button as hard as I could. This time, I fixed my gaze on my so-called instructor, instead of the skittering black dot on the ground. Unsurprisingly, staring at Ominous didn't do wonders for my focus either. I couldn't help but watch his hands as they unwrapped another chocolate bar, his movements quick and practiced, a subtle elegance to them. That elegance vanished, however, when he shoved the bar into his mouth in one go, clearly determined to keep it from melting in his fingers.
Well?
Startled, I jerked my gaze back to the spider like I'd been caught doing something illegal. Ominous chuckled softly at my flustered silence. I muttered the incantation, bracing for another failure. Nothing, I admitted gloomily, leaning back in defeat. I glared at the spider now lounging smugly on the stone floor, entirely unbothered by my fruitless attempts to transform it into a button. With a casual flick of his wand, Ominous completed the task, even as he chewed on the remnants of chocolate stuck between his teeth. "Show off," I teased, picking up the button. I turned it over in my fingers, inspecting it with exaggerated thoroughness, half hoping to find a spider leg peeking through. But all I could detect was how flawlessly Ominous had crafted it, the surface perfectly smooth and shimmering in the torchlight. I sensed him shift beside me, but before I could react, the button twitched. Slowly, horribly, it wriggled back to its original form, sprouting 8 furry legs. Letting out a shriek, I dropped the creature as though it had burned me, furiously shaking my hands. "Glad to see you're having fun," I snapped, glaring at Ominous as he burst into giggles. The spider disappeared behind a nearby pillar.
Don't worry,
He managed between chuckles.
I'll find you another spider.
Sebastian, who'd been suspiciously quiet for the past hour, finally stirred behind his book, his eyes widening as they met mine.
I have to check something.
He blurted, slamming his book shut.
See you later.
Before Ominous or I could react, he darted past us toward the exit, ducking under the bars with a hurried grace, as though waiting for the grate to rise was a luxury he couldn't afford. Ominous's carefree demeanor crumbled in an instant.
I really hope this isn't what I think it is.
He muttered, letting his head fall back against the stone wall with a groan. It took me a second to find my voice, the weight of Sebastian's absence sinking into the suddenly too empty room. With Anne off on her own secret mission, one that likely involved Nerida, the space almost felt hollow. We were alone. "Are you finally going to tell me what you two have been plotting for the past few weeks?" Ominous straightened, opening his mouth as though ready to protest before closing it again. He crossed his arms defensively and retorted,
We've been plotting. I'm not plotting anything. It's him. He doesn't know when to stop babbling on and on about this stupid scriptorium.
It didn't take magic for him to feel the pointed look I shot in his direction. "Scriptorium?" Ominous let out a sigh, the sound one of reluctant acceptance. I waited, watching as he adjusted his position, crossing his legs as though bracing himself for what he was about to share.
All right.
He breathed, pinching the bridge of his nose with a familiar hint of melodrama.
A couple of weeks ago, Sebastian found out that, apparently, Salazar Slytherin had a secret study somewhere in this school. Allegedly, it still contains a collection of books and scrolls about his work. I say it's likely full of dark magic better left untouched. But Sebastian thinks it could hold answers about how his parents died.
A shadow darkened his face at the mention of Sebastian's parents, and for the first time, I noticed the faint hollows beneath his eyes. Proof of sleepless nights filled with arguments. My stomach tightened.
Moreover, he believes people should learn about every branch of magic to be fully prepared for the future, whatever that means.
His tone was bitter, his fingers twitching as though to grasp some invisible thread of reason.
I can tell you now, his curiosity will get him killed someday.
He paused, running a hand down his face, visibly struggling to suppress the thought of losing his best friend to the dark arts. His anguish rippled through me, stirring up the unease I hadn't been able to name, the silent nudges beneath my ribs, one for every forced smile, every cryptic remark from Sebastian. Ominous's words gave my feelings shape, but I didn't interrupt. The silence around us grew thick, heavy with unspoken fears.
A couple of weeks ago, Sebastian stumbled upon a book about ancient myths surrounding the 4 founders of Hogwarts. It claimed Slytherin built more than one hidden chamber in the school to safeguard his projects.
He spat the word like it was poison.
I'm sure this cursed book is one of his trophies from his latest escapade in the restricted section, an infuriating habit of his.
He shook his head sharply, his mouth a thin line, ready to unleash words that had likely sat on his tongue for days. Do you think it might be true? My voice faltered, strained against the tightness spreading in my throat. I swallowed hard, fixing my attention on the restless dance of Ominous's fingers, willing myself to remain composed.
I don't think it might be true,
he said, each word weighed.
I know it is. The scriptorium is real.
His gaze was impenetrable when my eyes flicked up to meet his. He inhaled deeply, as if admitting the truth had drained him entirely. You've been inside? I asked, leaning closer, curiosity outweighing my restraint.
No,
he replied abruptly.
I only know of it because of my favourite aunt, Noctua. She was different. She thought like I do. Didn't agree with the family on the use of dark magic.
For a moment, his expression softened, a flicker of warmth breaking through the tension, a memory that made his eyes light up with a glow I'd never seen before.
In fact, she hoped to convince my family that there was more to Salazar Slytherin than worshipping pure-blood status and the dark arts. She'd heard about this scriptorium from another relative and believed its contents might reveal a different side to him. Aunt Noctua was a Hufflepuff, the only Gaunt in history not sorted into Slytherin. My father never forgave her for it.
A faint smile curled his lips. Honest, proud even, yet tinged with such wistfulness that it sent a flash of pain through my chest. Trembling slightly, I watched him prepare his next words that shone through the mist in his eyes.
I wish I'd been sorted into Hufflepuff,
he whispered.
My aunt said their common room was the quietest. Perfect for thinking. I'd have liked that.
His eyes drifted to the side, sparing me the full force of his longing. If I had looked at him for a moment longer, I might have shattered under the weight of it. What? I murmured, picking my words carefully as though they were pieces of broken glass. What happened to her? Ominous shifted, inching himself closer to me, as if seeking firmer ground or some form of emotional anchor.
She wrote letters to my father about her attempts to find the scriptorium. Then they stopped. He said she must have run off, called her a coward, a disgrace, an outcast.
His rage was palpable, not just for her, but for the Gaunt legacy that punished kindness like a crime. My heart pounded as I took in his face, raw and true, as though his pure soul shone through his skin. The injustice of it all tugged at my insides. How could anyone think of him as less?
I believe she found it,
he said at last.
And that it killed her. Maybe because she wasn't a Slytherin. I don't know.
It took a moment for me to grasp this meaning, and when the words sank in, I unraveled, silent tears stinging my eyes. He had lost his aunt, lost the only relative he'd been close to, the only one who understood him, the only one who stood against cruelty and didn't make him feel small for it. A world that had tortured him for not wanting to hurt anybody. The way he sat before me, whole and composed, offered an idea to how much time must have passed. "I'm so sorry, Ominous," I whispered, my voice rasping against my throat. Aware of the risk I was taking, I added, "Don't you want to find out what happened to her?" The glare he turned on me was piercing.
You sound just like Sebastian.
He snarled, his chest heaving under the weight of my question.
Aunt Noctua went down this path with good intentions and lost her life. I won't let that happen again.
The fury drained from him, vanishing beneath the depths of his grief. His head snapped to the side, signaling the end of our conversation, leaving only exhaustion in its wake. "Of course, I'm sorry," I said, retreating into silence. But as I watched his trembling hands, I remembered how he had steadied me, grounding me in that moment of darkness. It had swallowed me whole, just like the memory of his aunt held him prisoner, a much more profound and agonizing kind of darkness. All I wanted was to return the gift. The gift. Ominous gazed blankly, unresponsive, almost indifferent. I tried to remember the confidence I'd felt this morning, my fingers closing around the scale in my pocket. The familiar texture sent a flicker of determination through me. "Ominous," I said hesitantly. "I have something for you. A gift for your birthday." He turned his head slowly as if emerging from his thoughts.
A gift? Didn't you...
"This one's from me," I said softly. "An extra." Carefully, with deliberate precision, I extended my hand to him. His fingers relaxed instantly, his palms opening for me without resistance. "Be careful around the edges, they're sharp," I murmured, pulling my hand away reluctantly, almost disappointed to let it go. A spark lit my chest as I watched Ominous's fingers move over the scale in a flutter of discovery. His expression brightened, the shadows in his eyes lifting.
Is that...
A relieved chuckle slipped from me as I watched colour return to his cheeks. His head tilted toward me, his expression vivid and alive. "It's a scale from A Mermaid's Tale," I said, repeating Poppy's words. I thanked her silently for the smile now blooming on Ominous's face. "Poppy gave it to me. I thought you might like the texture." He let out a breathless laugh, gratitude shining in his eyes.
I love it. Thank you, Nina.
The way his mouth quirked, revealing his dimples, so genuine and unguarded, disarmed me. I forgot to breathe for a second. I opened my mouth to reply, but the words faltered, choked by the intensity of the moment.
I suppose this is as close as I'll get to meeting a mermaid.
He quipped.
Thanks to you, I can add it to my long list of accomplishments.